All right, so actual significant figures. All right, all you have to do in terms of this assignment, when we talk about those place values, is how many of those place values are you using? Like on that first measurement, we could see the ones place. We couldn't see the tenths place, but we estimate there. So how many place values? So that means we have two significant figures. Okay, it's that easy. On the second one we did, we could see the ones. We could see the tenths also. And then we estimated the hundredths. So how many are there? 3. All right? And then in terms of what significant figures actually are, if you were reading a measurement, here's how you do it. All non-zero numbers are significant. So that means 1 through 9, they always count as significant figures. Okay? It's the zeros that are weird. So if we can have 3 kinds of zeros. We can have leading zeros. We can have middle zeros. We can have trailing zeros. Okay? These are the 3 types of zeros we can have. Leading means that if I look at the number, there's no non-zero numbers to the left. Okay? I'll show you an example. These are never significant. So we never count those as significant figures. We just ignore them. They're just taking up space. They're place markers is all they are, but they're not important in the measurement. All right, middle zeros mean non-zero somewhere in the number to the left and right. I should really do this differently. Yeah. Okay, so we have all non-zero numbers. If we see it in a measurement, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, we count them as significant. Leading zeros, so what those look like are things like this. Okay, so if I look at the zeros, and by the way, all the zeros that are grouped together are the same kind of zeros. Okay? Those would be leading zeros, because if I look at this number, the first thing I do is I mark which ones are non-zero, because those are significant. So in the first number, 0.0026, I would mark the 2 and the 6. I know that those are significant because they're non-zero. When I look at these zeros here, there's not any, no non-zero numbers left of them. That means they're leading zeros. They are never significant. All right? Middle zeros. So middle zeros have some non-zero digit to the left and to the right, like 101, 2,500.6. Okay, if I'm doing 101, 1 is a non-zero digit, 1 is a non-zero digit. Those are significant figures. This 0 has a significant figure somewhere to the left, somewhere to the right. It's a middle 0. And this number here, 2,500.6, the 2 and the 5 count, so does the 6. These zeros right here, they have a non-zero digit to the left somewhere and to the right, so they're middle zeros. Middle zeros always count, always significant. Okay? Good with that? Making sense so far, or have any questions? The last one is trailing zeros. So trailing zeros, no non-zero to right. So this would be like your 1.00. The 1 is significant, but those zeros, there's no non-zero digits to the right of them. 250. The 2 and the 5 count. This 0, no non-zero numbers to the right. And right. Non-zero to the left and right. The trailing zeros are only significant if there's a decimal in the number. Okay, so in the first case, these are trailing zeros. There is a decimal in the number, therefore they count. So that would have 3 significant figures. This one here, 250, that's a trailing zero. There's no decimal in the number. It does not count. There are only 2 significant figures there. Does that make sense? And one more practice. So we get some number like this. Trying to include everything. Okay. This is a pretty wild number. So the way we do it, if I say, hey, how many significant figures are in this number, you just say the 6, the 5, and the 1. I know they count right away because they're non-zeros. All right, these first 3 zeros are all grouped together, the same kind of zero. What kind are they? Are they leading, middle, or trailing? Leading. Do leading ever count? So I'm not going to count those. What about these zeros here? Leading, middle, or trailing? Middle. Do middle count? Middle always counts. All right. What kind of zeros are these? Trailing. Do they count? So trailing are weird. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. They do when? Is there a decimal somewhere in this number? There is. It's right here. There's a decimal point right there. They count. So this number would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 significant figures. Last one. Got 30,500. So I know the 3 and the 5 count because they're not zeros. What is that first zero? Leading, middle, or trailing? Does it have a non-zero digit to the left of it? Somewhere. Does it have a non-zero digit to the left of it? It does. Does it have one to the right also? That makes it a middle zero, right? Middle zeros always count. What kind of zeros are those? Trailing. Trailing only counts if there's a decimal point in the number. Is there a decimal point in this number? There is not, so they do not count. So this number here would have 3 significant figures. The 3, the first 0, and the 5.